friends. We are continuing in 1 Samuel. We're on chapter 21 now. Nothing to really report as, the news and everything. They're talking about Obamacare and what have you. So, nothing that I really want to make a comment on that. I do hope that they come up with a replacement plan, and I think that that's what Trump wants. No one really voted on the Republican side for Obamacare, and including Rand Paul. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. What they want to do. So let's get on with it. I'm going to try to get in a couple of chapters here if I can. So David of Nob takes hallowed bread and Goliath's sword at Gath. He feigns himself mad. Okay, so always remember to pray before you listen to God's word and ask him to help you understand what it is that he's trying to relay to you at a certain time in your life. And yeah, I can. Okay. All right, so then came David to Nob, to Ahimelech the priest, and Ahimelech was afraid at the meeting of David, and said unto him, Why art thou alone, and no man with thee? So David said unto Ahimelech the priest, The king hath commanded me a business, and hath said unto me, Let no man know anything of the business whereabout I send thee, and what I have commanded thee. And I have appointed my servants to such and such a place. Now, therefore, what is under thine hand? Give me 5 loaves of bread in mine hand, or what there is present. Sorry about that. Obviously blocked. Okay. And now, therefore, what is under thy hand? Give me 5 loaves of bread in mine hand, or what there is present. And the priest answered David and said, There is no common bread under mine hand, but there is hallowed bread, if the young men have kept themselves at least from women. Showbread, okay? And David answered the priest and said unto him, Of the truth women have been kept from us about these 3 days since I came out, and the vestials of the young men are holy, and the bread is in a manner common, yea, though it were sanctified this day in the vessel. So the priest gave him hallowed bread, and there was no bread there but the showbread that was taken from before the Lord, to put hot bread into the day when it was taken away. Now a certain man of servants of Saul was there that day, detained before the Lord, and his name was Doeg, an Edomite, a chiefest of the herdsmen that belonged to Saul. And David said to Ahimelech, there are not here under thine hand spear or sword, for I have neither brought my sword or weapons with me, because the king's business required haste. And the priest said The sword of Goliath the Philistine, whom thou slewest in the valley of Elah, behold, it is here wrapped in a cloth behind the ephod. If thou wilt take that, take it, and there is no other save that here. And David said, There is none like that. Give it to me. And David arose and fled that day for fear of Saul, and went to Achish, the king of Gath. And the servants of Achish said unto him, Is this not David the king of the land? Did they not sing one to another of him in dances, and saying, Saul has slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s? And David laid up these words in his heart, and was sore afraid of Achish the king of Gath. And he changed his behavior before them, and feigned himself mad in their hands, and stabbed on the doors of the gate, and let his spittle fall down upon his beard. So he actually looked like he was out of his mind, crazy. And then a chest said unto his servants, Lo, you see the man is mad. Therefore then ye have brought him to, why have you brought him to me? And I need have I need of a madman, that you have brought this fellow to play the madman in my presence? Shall this fellow come into my house? Okay, chapter 22. David's friends resort to him at Adullum, and Doeg accuses Ahimelech. Saul commands to kill the priest. Abiathar escapes and flees after David. So David therefore departed hence and escaped to the cave of Adullum, and where his brethren and all his father's house heard it, they went down thither to him. And every one that was in distress, and every one that was in debt, and every one that was discontented, gathered themselves unto him, and he became a captain over them. There were with him about 400 men. And David went hence to Mizpah of Moab, and he said unto the king of Moab, Let my father and my mother, I pray thee, come forth and be with you until I know what God will do for me. And he brought them before the king of Moab, and they dwelt with him all the while that David was in hold. And the prophet Gad said unto David, Abide not in the hold, depart and get thee into the land of Judah. David departed and came into the forest of Hareth. And Saul heard that David was discovered, and the men that were with him. Now Saul abode in Gibeah under a tree in Ramah, having his spear in his hand, and all his servants were standing about him. Then Saul said unto his servants that stood about him, Hear now, ye Benjamites, will the son of Jesse give every one of you fields and vineyards, and make you all captains of thousands and captains of hundreds, that all of you have conspired against me, that there is none that shows me that my son has made a league with the son of Jesse, and there is none of you that is sorry for me, or showeth unto me that my son has stirred up my servants against me to lie in wait, as at this day? Then answered Doeg the Edomite, which was set over the servants of Saul, said, I saw the son of Jesse coming to Nob, to Ahimelech the son of Ahitub, and he inquired of the Lord of him, and he inquired of the Lord for him, and gave him victuals, and gave him the sword of Goliath the Philistine. Then the king sent to call Ahimelech the priest, the son of Ahitub, and all his father's house, and the priests that were in Nob, and came all of them to the king. And Saul said, Hear now, thou son of Ahitub. And he answered, Here I am, my lord. And Saul said unto him, Why have you conspired against me, thou and the son of Jesse, in thou hast given him bread and a sword, and has inquired of God for him, that he should rise against me to lie in wait at this day? Then Ahimelech answered the king and said, Who is so faithful among all the servants as David, which the king's son-in-law goeth at thy bidding, and is honorable in thy house? Then did I then begin to inquire of God for him? Be it far from me, let not the king impute anything unto his servants, nor to all the house of my father, for thy servant known nothing of all this, less or more. And the king said, Thou shalt surely die, Ahimelech, thou and all thy father's house. And the king said unto the footmen and stood about him, Turn and slay the priests of the Lord, because their hand also is with David, and because they knew when he fled and did not show it to me. But the servants of the king would not put forth their hand to fall upon the priest of the Lord. And the king said to Doeg, "Turn you and fall upon the priest." And Doeg the Edomite turned, and he fell upon the priest, and slew on that day 75 persons that did wear a linen ephod. So he murdered them. And Nob, the city of the priests, smote he with the edge of the sword, both men and women, children and sucklings, and oxen, asses, and sheep, with the edge of the sword. And one of the sons of Ahimelech, the son of Ahitub, named Abiathar, escaped and fled after David. And Abiathar showed David that Saul had slain the Lord's priest. And David said unto Abiathar, "I knew it that day when Doeg the Edomite was there, that he would surely tell Saul, I have occasioned the death of all the persons of thy father's house. Abide thou with me, fear not, for he that seeketh my life seeketh thy life, but with me thou shalt be safe, that shalt be in safeguard." Okay, I better stop here, chapter 23, before I run out of time. I want to go back to when we read the read in the book of hang on, I don't want to lose my place here. Hold on. Okay. The Exodus, book of Exodus, especially when they were given manna from heaven, okay? It is now thought that the manna from heaven was, well, first of all, it wasn't like bread floated down from heaven, okay? It was actually a white powder. And they had to gather this white powder into baskets. And then they would knead this powder with, I'm sure, with some water, and make it into cakes and bread and so forth, and they would eat that. And what they figured from ancient, from Nebuchadnezzar and so forth, ancient tablets, is that the manna from heaven very well could be the property of gold, because gold is a one atom molecule, okay, and just like silver and platinum is. But gold, they discovered when you melt down gold in a certain fashion, that you get this white powder. And this powder has properties in it that when you ingest it, it changes your DNA, so that you don't ever become ill or sick. And the ancient people, more than 6,000 years ago, knew about this, okay? And we, I think, are now coming into more knowledge. We are regaining that knowledge now. And so that's why they were able to survive for so long in the desert, 40 years, wandering around, and the Lord leading them and guiding them and molding them into diamonds for him, for their future. So anyway, just find that fascinating, and you can look online at the monolithic properties of gold. And they also found that when you manipulated this powder, you heated it up and stirred it up, it would actually disappear. And so they thought, wow, this may have the properties of invisibility, because it just disappeared. It wasn't there anymore. But when the pan cooled down, the powder was in the exact same place that it was when they first poured it into the pan. And so it actually left the pan.